Welcome back to the C Morning Show. You're still with us on C today, and now it is past 7 in the a.m., which means it's time for our very first talk show. And for that, we'll be discussing a topic related to the relationship between parents and children. But before we start, I would like to ask my sister and colleague here, Caroline.
Yes.
Tell me a little bit about how you help your children to discover, but also to nurture their passions and interests without being a tiger mom.
That's a dab into my heart right there. By the way, I was really very interested and very excited for this talk show with our psychologist, and we're going to introduce just momentarily, but because this is such a reflection for me, because I am a tiger mom. My husband is the one that's kind of more nurturing. I'm the one that's like, okay, what do you want? You like to play basketball? Then you have to practice, and you have to practice hard. And you have to, if you think that you're not good enough right now, and you think that your friends are better, you have to see your potential, because everyone has their own, they have their own best efforts. And at least you have to give your best effort, even though that you don't succeed or if you don't win a game, right?
Right.
And academic-wise, so I always kind of push them to the limit, and then my husband would kind of like balance it out, like, hey kids, have your space, have fun. You guys are still children.
Good balance.
Yes.
But I do think, Carol, like every parent would want to see their children grow and nurture into becoming the best versions of themselves, right? But parent also uses different approach to boost their children's academic skills and learning abilities, which you have mentioned earlier as well, which can lead them to maybe develop Hurried Child Syndrome.
Like right now, my heart is beating hard.
Yep, the little sister is finally preaching to her older sister. But for you folks at home, let's get to know more on this issue. And we have with us, joining us in the studio, a psychologist at Rumah Dandelion, Mbak Rizqina Wijaya. Good morning, Mbak Kiki.
Morning. Thank you for having
so
me.
much for joining us.
No,
here in the
you will
studio.
enlighten us. You will enlighten me and get her prepared for her children in the future.
Absolutely. So I think just to kick things off, Mbak Kiki, what is exactly Hurried Child Syndrome, and what are the signs of this?
Okay. Disclaimer first, it's not a real diagnosis on the manual book. It's just a condition that describe today's phenomenon.
Okay, yes.
Okay, the terminology is found by a child psychologist, Dr. David Alkin, on his book. So, Hurried Child Syndrome is a collection, but not good collection, it's stress behavior related, So it's a cure when parents have high expectation to the children and push there to the limit, but it's beyond their capacity. It's not a capacity like physical capacities. It's more like mentally, cognitively, and emotionally. So in other words, it's a phenomenon that parents push the children to grow up fast.
Right. And which kind of the somewhat the emotion and also attitude from the parents that trigger the syndrome then, Mbak Kiki?
Okay. Overbook the schedule of the children.
Okay. Yes. Because there are so many now subjects at school, by the way.
And a lot of curses.
Yes.
And then they tell the children that winning is everything.
Right.
Grade at school can determine our whole life. And also the parents have a higher expectation to the children. They try to expect the children to think like us.
Yes.
They think the children is a mini adult.
That's right.
They have to respond to the situation, understand the situation like adults do. They have to planning skill. They like well-mannered, discipline, like an adult.
Right. So we as a parents then become the perpetrator, where the syndrome now, the one that have got the syndrome is the victims are the children. But in regards to that though, nowadays everything just moves so fast. And it is just so different than 10 years ago, 2 decades ago. So how is it the parents, so when we see parents like this, are we saying that this is at the parents' fault, or actually the parents could basically should balance it out? Yes, you can give some targets and goals for the children, but the way to do it, it should not be done as like you're pushing your children to the limit.
Yeah, the parents have to balance it out. But before that, we have to know the standard, right?
Yeah. Okay.
That's true.
So the standard is developmental stages of the children. We don't forget that.
Yeah.
The common mistake is we, as a parent or as an adult, we compare the
That's-
children to other children.
Sometimes to the siblings.
Yeah,
Right.
one or two. That's not fair.
Yeah.
Right.
We as a psychologist do comparing the children, but we compare them to the age of group.
Okay.
So it's more like we can adjust the expectation based on their age, based on their capacity.
Right. Okay. Wow. Yeah. Comparing to siblings. Yeah. I never really knew what that feels like as an
Yeah.
only child. I've always wondered though. Comparing to other kids, yes. You know, oh that. You know, did you see what they did? Yes. He was like, oh. But this pressure coming in from parents.
Yes.
Do you think we've talked about how too much pressure can actually rub off the wrong way on the kids?
Even for adults.
Even for adults too, that is very true. Agree. But no pressure at all can also hide their potential.
Yes.
So going back to balance, Akiki, where is that right spot, basically, between those two ends of the spectrum to be
Yeah.
able to raise the kids in a way that's okay, we're giving you enough pressure to
Like a
to
push.
challenge
Yeah,
you,
yeah.
but we're not pushing you to the point where it's beyond your capacity.
Okay, I heard this question so many times.
Yeah.
Because the parents always have to know the clear benchmark,
Right.
clear standard to raising their child. So I'll give you the standard. The
Yes.
standard is developmental task. In every age, the children has a developmental task. For example, by the age of 2, the developmental task of toddler is pointing out something. They can arrange 2 words in one sentence.
Okay.
They can shorten color, shape, and maybe they start to toilet training.
Yes.
If your child pass all the tasks, so you can move
To
to
another level.
task in
Right.
another level. But
That's right.
yeah, something like that. The developmental task is the key to balance it out.
Yeah, that's
So then, like, Kiki, in regards to this, then, if a parent that has become like myself, like a tiger mom, right, that doesn't stop,
Yeah.
what would be happen to the children in regards to their personal development, their personality development, their emotional development?
Yeah.
If parents don't seek out themselves to see, okay, I think I'm pressuring, I'm pushing my kids too far, what would happen to the children?
Remember, Hurried Child Syndrome is a collection of stress-related behaviors. So the behavior is stress response.
Okay.
Okay.
So you will see the changes in the children.
Yeah, the children obsessed with achievement. They obsessed with perfection.
Yes.
They see the importance of result, not the process.
process, yeah.
They restless. They hard to getting in social. They anxious when the expectation doesn't meet the expectation of the parents, and fear
Yes.
of rejection from the parents.
Oh my goodness.
And they also experience the resentment
Towards
towards
themselves.
parents,
Parents.
because the expectation is from the parents.
Right.
And it can come out with a procrastination, intentional rebellion to the parents,
Yes.
Right.
and tension between parents and child relationship.
Yeah.
So it's not
Maybe
good.
the intended rebellion would come later in
Yeah.
age, maybe when they're teenagers,
Yeah.
right? Not necessarily in their parents' control anymore. They're
Yes.
old enough to sort of
Make their choice.
make their choice and go
Agree.
against.
Yeah.
My question is, Kiki, what if it's both parents have different approaches towards
Yeah.
their kids? Per se, tiger mom versus sweet dad,
Yeah.
good cop,
thank
bad
you.
cop.
Bad cop.
What are you?
I'm like, nice.
Tiger mom and sweet dad.
Yes, putting it right there for me, ain't you?
Good cop, bad cop. How does that reflect on the kid? Will that sort of make the kid favor a parent more than the other?
Thank you.
What's this is not you. I'm
feel
learning.
attacked.
I know, I feel revealed right now, Karina Basrawan.
Please.
Okay. Yeah, sadly, yes.
Yes. Okay.
Yes,
That is possible.
That is possible. So, yeah, the balance is the key. And the consistency also is the key.
That's right.
Yeah. If you have a rule, so the consistency is the key.
And
Yes.
both parents have to stick to that
Yes,
rule.
yes.
as
Both
a
parents
team.
You have to have the
stick to
same
the-
voice.
Yeah.
That's one or two tips that you
Yeah,
need to learn
she-
coming very soon.
teaching me.
Agree.
But Kiki, in regards to this, we know again, as I previously mentioned, that our life now is so very different. Right?
Yes.
We're in a very fast-paced
Yes.
world. If we don't give that right push to our children, then they would kind of be behind
Yes.
than their peers. So they're also not meeting their expectation. They're not only meeting their expectation, but
Yeah.
also not meeting their potentials.
Yes. Yeah.
But then if we're too hard, but if we, let's say, give them the space as much, and we kind of see like, okay, they're not growing as well as maybe their peers,
Yeah.
and we want to give them, we're like, oh, but it's okay, we want them to be happy. There's only children, they're only 8 and 10. What would that also affect to the future? So how can we as a parents meet this balance then, Kiki? For you to give the push, but also giving them the space.
Okay.
It's very hard to be
a good
parents
question.
nowadays.
Yeah. And it's hard to answer because we can feel it.
Okay.
Okay. When we see the difference, a changing behavior or changing psychologically into the in the child, so we can feel like, oh, we give too much
Pressure.
to them.
Yeah. Okay.
So the changing in the children is a key.
So you have to be aware of the
Aware,
changes from your
yes.
children.
No, our children.
Yeah. So what do we do? Let's say if we're finding these changes. Of course, as a parent, we need to reflect to ourselves and we need to
Yeah.
change
Yeah.
ourselves. But how can we communicate to our children for them to understand that we're sorry as a parent, we're sorry to push you and whatnot, but we're
But
doing this
it's
because we
good,
love you.
yeah, for your
So
own
how can we communicate that in the right way so they won't be as stressed or not stressed anymore? Because you're saying that the syndrome or the signs are one of the most is stressing.
Balance with their needs, like playing. Because for the children, playing is a serious learning.
Yeah.
For us, playing is like a recreational activity, but
Yeah.
for them, it's a serious learning. So we have to balance with the
Sometimes
time for
parents
them.
like to play what they want to play, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, okay, we just
Has
want to
to put
play,
the
and we should put the kids' priority
kids
first.
first. And I
Yes,
think it's
agree.
also understanding your kids' interests and hobbies and passion,
yeah.
and developing that. Like if my kid loved
Basketball
painting or art,
painting,
right?
yeah.
That's something then you can push them. So it's like I feel like maybe that can be seen as a balance as well. It's like something they like, but I'm going to push you to make
Yeah.
sure that you do that well. But it's
Yes.
something they like. Like if they don't like math, I would not push them.
Yeah.
Talking about myself.
Maybe you have like a word or two or like
Yeah.
tips for the parents that is watching right now, like Kiki, because sometimes when we as parents see other kids excelling, there are some kind of like somewhat not resentment, but like a jealousy, right? Like I'm sure that my kids can do it like him or her too. Why can't they do it? And then we pressure our children when we don't know. It's actually that's not something that they're attracted to. Like,
And it's
let's say
mostly
they're not
for the
attracted to
parents,
math,
yeah.
but they're attracted to arts.
Yeah.
So then how can we as parents maybe try to be balanced with ourselves to not also compete with other moms and their children?
Know your children better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Know their weakness, their strength, know their pace in play and learning.
That's so important. Pace. Yeah. 'Cause
So we can set the realistic expectation
Yeah.
to them.
both to the kids and to the parents.
So definitely we don't want to propel them to the Hurried Child Syndrome because the effect would not be great
Yeah.
for their
Yes,
future
agree.
adulthoods. Definitely.
The relationship with the parents
Yeah.
as well. Well, Kiki, thank you so much.
Thank you.
For that very
It's very
insightful.
enlightening.
I feel like
and
we
I'm,
both
reflected
learned
right now for the
a
past
thing or
10
two.
minutes.
Yeah. So thank you so much, and hope for you folks at home that was also as insightful to know about Hurried Child Syndrome and how to find that balance as parent and
Yes.
future parent.
And it's never too late. You can turn the tables around right now. So
Yeah.
if you felt you're that kind of
Yeah.
parent, then you could balance it at now and make a
Absolutely.
very, a better future and a better life for our children. A happier one indeed.
Yes, wise words from Caroline Surahman. Thank you once again, Kiki, and
Thank
thank
you.
you
It's a pleasure.
folks for tuning in. We're now set for another commercial break, but when we return, we'll be bringing you updates from around the world. Stay with us.